No, Lori sent me, what'd she say?
I can guess what she said.
All right, the poor guy. I don't think he was trying to duck us. I think he just had his signals crossed a little bit. All right, Mr. Whitcomb, thank you for logging in here. Let me give you a proper name. Oh shit, I lost him again. I'm sorry. All right, welcome. Let me get set up here. Give me a second. John, did you see how the Tigers were doing?
They were ahead 2-0 at one time, but that was early in the game.
I saw 3-0 here a minute ago.
I was watching the pregame at noon, and it looked like they were bumbled up like a November football game in Ann Arbor.
It was snowing on the Detroit news feed.
They were allowed 8,000 fans or some number in that range, apparently, into their ballpark.
All right, Mr. Whitcomb, thank you. All right, let me call the case. This is file 201997SM. It's entitled People of the State of Michigan versus Clayton Daniel Whitcomb. It's alleged that on or about August 17th of last summer, he and his brother assaulted Cody Brownridge. I believe Mr. Brownridge is presently in the county jail. Yes, he has been in there for 8 days. The co-defendant, Christian Lane Whitcomb, has a different attorney and a different name. His case isn't set for last pretrial until June 3rd. What's the status here?
Your Honor, it's not resolved today. It's just an assault case. Ms. Davis isn't willing to budge off of that at this point. We would ask the court to set this for a pretrial on June 3rd along with the co-defendant. If there is a trial, it could be a potential joint trial.
All right. Let's figure out what time that is. I don't have a calendar that goes out that far. June 3rd is...
I believe that's a Thursday. So.
Yeah, it is a Thursday. Let me look at it. See what time he's set for. There isn't. Oops. Well, darn it, let me look at this again. Because I don't even see anything on here, but what I looked at in the Lane's file, let's see. Actually, his name is Christian, is that correct?
It's Lane Christian Whitcomb. I don't see that there's a notice sent out yet for that June 3rd one. We were just looking at it in sessions.
Yeah, it's in the AS400 as June 3rd. I can't tell what time it is.
We think it's set for 1 o'clock, Your Honor, but
it's on Judge Pattison's calendar.
Oh.
I'm going to put it on, well, all right, I'll set it for 1 o'clock.
that was just my office checking, and my secretary
All right.
just tapped me and said she thinks it's set for 1.
All right, Mr. Whitcomb, you've been diligent about appearing. You got in the wrong room, but it doesn't mean you weren't meaning to be here. I don't know which room you're gonna be in on June 1st. It may be in Judge Patterson's room again. Your brother is in front of Judge Pattison. We try to keep them together. So we're gonna continue the pretrial.
You're on mute.
I am?
No, Mr. Whitcomb's trying to say something, but he's muted.
I guess I
Oh,
won't get
there we
kicked off.
go. I got it now.
All right, I'm gonna set this at the same time and date as your brother's case, which will be June 3rd at 1 p.m. And are you still on Ellerman Street in Sturgis?
Yeah.
All right, obviously this is longer than we'd like this to take, but got what we got. All right, and Deborah, you may have a chance to have a consultation with Mr. Brownridge when he's in jail and see what he wants to do.
Our victim advocate has spoken with him this week, and he is cooperative and willing to testify. So we kind of are where we are. I mean, we're not asking for any specific jail time, obviously not asking for probation with the new law change. If Mr. Whitcomb wanted it, he could ask for it, but we aren't looking for anything specific other than an acknowledgement that there was an assault. So with that, I've expressed that to Mr. Bush, and if Mr. Whitcomb and or his brother want a trial, then we can wait it out, and he will be on bond until then.
And I'll make sure they understand your position about a no jail recommendation and no probation.
Sure. I mean, the recommendation would be that we're not asking for any specific amount of jail, but it would be up to the court sentencing him, whether they would ask for it. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Whitcomb, you're free to go. John, thank you for your help today. You're free to go.
Thank you, Judge.
Debbie and I are here for the long haul. All right, I think we're ready on our next case, which I believe is Joseph Lancaster. I've got Mr. Brandon Gardner, and I've got an unknown phone number, which give me just a moment here, please. Oh, I got a problem here. I've got the Detroit News stuck on my feed. Mr. Gardner, I was going to try to send you an email and ask you to put a tie on for our court proceeding, and I got stuck in another program.
Oh, I will be right back.
All right. Are you Joseph Lancaster?
Yes, I am.
All right, Mr. Lancaster, do you have the ability to do video?
I'm not sure how to do it.
Okay.
I
Well,
keep getting stuck in it.
We're waiting for your lawyer for a minute. We'll be right with you.
All right.
All right, Mr. Mr. Gardner's back with us. Let me call the case formally. This is file 202101SD. It's entitled People versus Joseph Lancaster. Mr. Lancaster is with us by telephone. Mr. Brandon Gardner is here with us from Grand Rapids, and Deborah Davis, the assistant prosecutor, is here. Mr. Lancaster, you're charged with operating while intoxicated, second offense, possession of open intoxicants in a motor vehicle, and failing to yield to an emergency vehicle. The prior was here in our court in 2014, in discussing this matter with your attorney and the others. I made a referral for an evaluation for placement on our sobriety court program. I don't know whether you're appropriate for it or whether you're willing to do it, but I sent a referral for an evaluation. Mr. Gardner, what can you tell us regarding that? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Your Honor, I have my office send over a, let's see, an updated assessment, an updated coordination of care, an updated treatment plan to the court's fax number. We were provided that information this afternoon from the probation department. They indicate a willingness by Mr. Lancaster to make use of sobriety court in this matter. Understanding is that he's otherwise eligible and wishes to proceed on that. From previous discussions with the people, this is actually kind of an old one dating back to November. My understanding of the plea offer at that time, which Mr. Lancaster would like to avail himself of today, guilty to the OWI second offense in case number 22101SD. There are 3 companion cases to this matter, one being a open container, file number, same file number, but 2102ST as in comment, a failure to yield ticket and a driving left of center ticket. All of them run together with this case. We're at the same time and location as the criminal offense. The agreement, as I understood it, was to guilty to that OWI second case, dismiss the balance, and have Mr. Lancaster avail himself of sobriety court, which he is currently doing and wishes to continue in that fashion.
All right, I'm pleased to hear that. Mr. Lancaster, I'm somewhat biased because I'm the sobriety court judge, but we call it pulling people out of the water when they're drowning and pulling them up into the boat. And that's what we're going to try to attempt to do. The plea offer is they're going to dismiss all the other charges, and you're going to plead to 1 count of operating while intoxicated as a second offense. That's a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $1,000. It could result in the suspension of your license. But if you are a probationer in a sanctioned sobriety court, which ours is, your only avenue of getting a driver's license if you get convicted is by doing a sobriety court program, where we would help you get your license with an interlock device. Do you understand?
Yes.
Other than this plea agreement, did anyone promise you anything to get you to plead to this
No.
or threaten you?
No.
Do you understand that if you plead to this charge, you'll be giving up your right to have a trial in front of a judge or a jury? There would be no trial. Do you understand that?
Correct.
If you had a trial, you'd have the right to be represented by an attorney. You've retained capable counsel, Mr. Gardner, and that's fine with us. You could have also asked to have had an attorney appointed to represent you.
Yes.
If you had a trial, you'd have the right to take the witness stand and testify in your own behalf. But you don't have to, because you have a right not to testify. And if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you. And finally, you would have a right to be presumed innocent if and until the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand all that?
Yes.
All right, were you driving a car here in St. Joe County on September 18th?
Yes.
Where were you going?
Home.
Home?
Yes.
Where are you going home from?
My daughters.
Where does she live?
On Maystead Road. About 10 minutes from my house.
All right, you live on Plum School Road.
Correct.
What were you drinking?
Pardon?
What were you drinking?
I was drinking beer and a couple shots of Fireball.
How many beers do you think you had?
Probably 6 or 7.
All right. Miss Davis, was there a breath test or a blood test?
Yes, I believe it was a .16 breath test.
Mr. Gardner, is that acceptable to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lancaster, I think you were pretty candid with me. 6 or 7 beers. What kind of beer was it?
Bud Light.
All right, that's got less alcohol in it than many beers, but 6 or 7 and some shots of Fireball, which is, I think, 80 proof, could get you to that level. People tell me, well, I had 2 beers. And then I said, well, what were they? Well, they were 2 40-ounce steel reserves. Well, that's 2 beers, but that's a lot of beer. Anyway, I appreciate your candor. I know you've been working with Mr. Gardner. You've got an assessment. You've got some other things going on. I want to know more about that. So I have to set this, what's called screening and sentencing. We've got some problems with the month of April because of a court holiday and spring break and other vacation time. Let me see if I can find a place to put this. What do you do, sir? What's your occupation? I don't remember from back in 14.
I'm on disability.
Okay. What'd you used to do?
I was a welder.
How about April 28th at 11 o'clock? Does that work for you, Mr. Gardner?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's a Wednesday.
And does the court anticipate to still be conducting hearings?
Yes, it'll be by Zoom once again. We had hoped maybe for a lot of things. When this first shutdown first came last spring, we slammed the door, and then nothing was done for some weeks except the bare minimum. The employees were all sent home. I came in every day with the administrator and we did the arraignments, but then we opened up, and now we're opened up really for everything except jury trials. We're doing all of our business by Zoom. But we'd hope maybe by Christmas, or that didn't happen, and by April it didn't happen. As you know, the numbers in Michigan aren't real good right now, so certainly by April 28th we'll still be doing things virtually by Zoom. Mr. Lancaster, even sobriety court is by Zoom. It's not as intimate as it was, but I've got a really good group of people in my sobriety court right now that are really rowing in the right direction. There are a lot of people that are turning it around, and I'd like to bring you into that group. Anyway, the matter's continued for sentencing for April 28th at 1 o'clock. You got most of the screening done. Excuse me, April 28th at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock. Okay.
We'll send you that notice. Are you still on Plum School Road?
Correct.
Mr. Gardner, anything else we should put on the record here?
I don't think so, Judge.
Ms. Davis, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Lancaster, I'm going to look forward to working with you further, but we've got to go through the process to set this for sentencing. So it's set for April 28th. Your bond conditions are still in effect. I want you to continue to do the treatment and other things you're doing. And I'll meet you further on April 28th. All right, sir, you're good to go. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a great day.
Thank you. It's been okay so far.
Good.
I've been in this chair for like 9 hours, and I'm getting sore. Here's Edwin. Hello, Edwin.
Afternoon, Your Honor. How are you?
I'm well. I'm here with Deborah Davis. We're live on YouTube, Zooming it. We don't see your client yet.
No, she was sick. She's done all her hearings here in my office. Said she had a fever. Since she offers to a civil infraction, I told her to stay home, and I'll admit it on your behalf.
All right. Well, let's talk about that. She's charged with operating impaired and open intoxicants in a motor vehicle. The open intox is in 201704. Deborah, is that being dismissed?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then the plea offer is to careless and dismiss the impaired charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Edwin, you admit responsibility for that civil infraction on her behalf?
Yes, Judge.
All right, fine and costs by fee schedule for careless driving is $150. It is a civil infraction. It does carry, I believe, through, I can't remember if it carries 3 or 4. I think it carries 3 points. And that fine is due within 30 days, which would be May 3rd. Has there been any change in her address?
No, Judge.
All right, that she lives in Athens. All right, the fine is $150. This won't go down as a drinking driving offense. The open intox is dismissed. It will show as a careless driving citation. No suspension of driving privileges. And as long as she pays the fine within 30 days, she'll be good to go.
Terrific. Well, thank you very much, Your Honor.
All right, I haven't seen you in a while. We'll see you maybe in the real world at some point, but thank you for taking care of this matter.
Pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Davis.
No problem, Evan. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna wait for Kalamazoo County to log in and Casey to log in. Whittaker's set for 4. I'm going to take these files out. So I'll leave everything up and running. I'll shut the record off.
Casey said he was logging in for that 4 o'clock. So if anything, I'll still be in the office. So just
All right,
ready. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Whittaker.
Good afternoon, Ms. Middleton.
I'll be with you here in just a moment, waiting for the prosecutor to log in. You're looking good. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, but you look clear-eyed, clear-headed. I know you were quite distressed the last time we talked, but let me put you in the waiting room and we'll be right back. Casey, we're ready to go with Mr. Whittaker. Good afternoon. I just emailed the prosecutor, asked him to log in. He said he's on his way. Here he is. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge.
This is the time of day for a last pretrial in the matter of People versus Kyle Whittaker. Mr. Whittaker, have you got a whole screen? Can you see both of us?
Yeah, I can see everybody.
Mr. Whittaker is presently an inmate in the Kalamazoo County Jail, and they were gracious enough to do a Zoom connection for us. Mr. Whittaker, we're live on YouTube and we are on Zoom. This is a charge of 2 counts of abandoning or cruelty to animals, which was filed by the prosecuting attorney's office. You had indicated you did not want an attorney appointed, you wanted to represent yourself in this matter. So I have not appointed an attorney for you. In the meantime, when I talked to you last time, you were at Twin County Probation Center and just had a child and some other things going on in your life. Why are you in the Kalamazoo County Jail right now?
It's stemming from the birth of my daughter from Bronson Hospital. I can't speak too much on that, Mr. Middleton, because I'm awaiting trial in that matter. And as a matter of fact,
So
I just want to resolve this issue today. I don't mean to cut you off, Mr. Middleton. What I'm seeking to do here is close that chapter of my life. Now, I'm not going to sit here and slough my responsibility. I got out there, man. You know what I mean? When I was living at 717 Maple Street, I became highly addicted to methamphetamines, and it just got out of control. I tried several times to quit, and then when I had expressed to my significant other, my ex-significant other at that time, that it was bigger than me, and I needed help, and then I went to go get help, she too had abandoned me, you know what I mean? So I was going through some emotional turmoil too at that time. And right now, man, I'm not going to sit here and slough my responsibility, but there are several things that I would like to point out to the court that Mr. Johnson
Let me ask, Mr. Johnson, is the offer plea to 1 count, dismiss the other count?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Yeah, I wasn't. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I appreciate that. You know, I have wrote your office and requested a discovery pursuant to 2.201 Michigan Court Rule. I don't know if you received that. I never received a response on those requests. I wasn't able to acquire any type of legal materials while I was at Twin County. Kevin Butler kept telling me that's what you have an attorney for, not understanding that I had invoked my absolute right to represent myself under McCaskill versus Wiggins. And I don't think he's ever had somebody in that position where they've asked to represent themselves in court.
Well,
So,
it is kind of rare, but Mr. Whittaker, you're an intelligent guy and you're much easier to talk to when you're not tweaking. We had a struggle that other day. The last 2 times I've talked to you, you've been much more pleasant, much more rational. I've known you for many years and I like this version better. But you've acknowledged what was going on. I know quite a bit about this because I heard the earlier hearing. So this is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $1,000. You've been in jail now for quite a while.
Yes, I have. Actually, that's to my benefit because I've had a chance
How long have you been in Kalamazoo County?
I've been in Kalamazoo County for 30 days now. Oh, well, no, 21 since our last court appointment. What I seen you on the 10th or the 9th, and I've been incarcerated ever since.
All right. How long were you in Twin County before that?
A month.
30 days.
I've been incarcerated since January 25th, Mr. Middleton. I mean, and it's been one form of incarceration or another. And honestly, man, it's been to my benefit. It really has. I've gained some of my weight back. I was 181 pounds when I was released from prison on April 29th. I was still 180 pounds in August. And when I was checked into the county jail on the 25th of January, I was 126 pounds. So I've had some time to work on myself spiritually, mentally, and physically, you know what I mean? And it's been to my benefit. It really has been.
Well, that's one of the most effective things, is just forcing people to detox, and we could certainly tell the difference. So are you going to plead to one of the two counts and they'll dismiss the other count?
Most definitely I am.
All right.
You know, and I'm gonna state it before the court. I turned myself into something that I always hated, and that I was worse than I've ever been. And looking back on it now, it was a nightmare. It was a literal nightmare. And I'm glad that I'm away from that now, because I feel like I'm on top. And you know what I mean? I feel like it's been to my benefit. I'm sorry for those that I hurt. I'm sorry for the brutal victim in this matter. You know what I mean? I think about it every night, man. I'm never going to go back to that. I'll never get that sick again.
Well, is it acceptable to you if I use the factual basis we had from that hearing as a factual basis for the plea?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll just plea one count, dismiss count two. I'm just going to go ahead and do the sentence. I'm going to give you 60 days in jail, credit 51, leaving 9. There'll be good time in there, concurrent with your Kalamazoo County sentence.
Okay. So basically, I'm getting time served.
Yes.
Is that what this is? Hold on.
Yes.
Can I ask you this? If you impose any fines or costs, can you place me on probation?
I'm going to waive the fines and costs. I don't want you to be on double probation here in Kalamazoo both. And the animal, I think, has already been
adopted out. Yeah, I have other stuff going on up here too. I petitioned to the court, to the front of the court, for my parental rights and stuff like that. I just got that petition in the mail last week, and well, I feel like you're helping me right now, Mr. Middleton and Mr. Johnson, and I appreciate it. I really do.
Well, you got to do one thing at a time, and I appreciate the fact you're willing to accept responsibility for this. You were there, and that testimony was hard to watch and hard to see, and you're right, you were at the bottom of the pit looking up. This poor little dog had to suffer the consequence, but the dog's been redeemed. Somebody probably loves it, and in a different state of mind, you'd be good with a pet, but not where you were. So 60 days, credit 51, leaving 9 days to serve concurrent with your Kalamazoo County sentence. And no fine and cost, and the animal may be adopted, which I think it already has. I appreciate your willingness to accept responsibility. When you get done, I wouldn't mind sitting down and having a conversation with you, but right now you got other things to take care of. So you're free to go back about your business. I want to thank Kalamazoo County for facilitating this sad chapter's conclusion, but you're good to go, Mr. Whittaker. Best of luck to you.
Thank you, Mr. Middleton.
All right, Casey, thank you. You did a fine job on that original hearing, and everything I needed to know about this, I got from that. So, he's got other issues. I don't think he's going to be out for a while.
Yep.
But it resolves this case, and that's a good case to be resolved. And that was a nice little dog, and hopefully somebody's got it and went to a good home.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. And I'm glad he's so much easier to deal with today. And I'm glad he was willing to accept responsibility and move on. So thank you, Casey.
Agreed. Thank you, Judge. Have a good weekend.
All right, thank you, you too. Okay, that concludes our very lengthy day. And tomorrow is a court holiday, Good Friday. Supreme Court says courts are closed on that day. We'll be back Monday morning with